Manchester United 4, Wolves 1. An extremely important win for the Red Devils. What happened tactically behind the scenes? Without further ado, let's analyze. Alright, so first let's get started with Manchester United's build-up and progression phases, because I believe that in this game against Wolves, we've seen Manchester United at their best when it comes to using the ball in their own half out of all the games that I have witnessed this season. So first of all, I am really thrilled that Ruben Amorim has abandoned his 3-2 shape in the build-up, because right now we only see Casemiro coming deep in the build-up phase with Bruno Fernandes actually pushing forward. That is extremely important because then it means that the opposition cannot really crowd us here. It decreases the chances that we're going to turn over possession to the opponent, but also it means that these players, the ball carriers, in this case Mazraoui, have much more options to pass the ball forward to our forward players. But here what we've seen is actually a clear pattern, because as you can see here, Wolves were using a man-to-man marking, but the movement of the likes of Bruno Fernandes, Cunha and Mbeumo in this sequence was amazing, because there was a clear pattern between the players who come in deep to receive the ball and players who make runs into space in order to create space so that players can actually receive the ball. So here what we have is Mbeumo coming in deeper, but as you can see here, he comes in deeper, he drags all of these players towards him, passes the ball towards Ahmad, and then what he does, he doesn't stay there. He just runs, he sprints forward, opening up this space right now for Matheus Cunha. As you can see, Matheus Cunha was already looking forward, trying to identify opportunities for him to pass the ball to. Now Mazraoui can find him easily. And then now it's Cunha's turn to actually drag these players towards him, And then this opens up this space right here for Casemiro to be able to find Bruno Fernandes. So again, as you see, what we've seen with Mbeumo and Cunha is that they come in deep, they drag Wolves players with them, but the whole purpose is to just create space. So Mbeumo creating space for Cunha, and then Cunha as a result creating space for Bruno Fernandes, and then Manchester United are able to progress the ball, moving from that build-up phase towards the progression phase, and then eventually going putting ourselves in a situation where we can, enter the opposition final third and create goal-scoring chances. Here's another example of that. Again, same thing. I like to always show you 2 or 3 clips showing pretty much the same thing to just show you that these are patterns. They're not things that just happen, out of luck or something. No, these are actually rehearsed in training. So again, same thing. We do have the build-up with the 3 center backs and then Casemiro right here. Same amount of Wolves players again pressing us, but then again, as you see, Mbeumo is coming in deeper, but he's not even asking for the ball. He's just going wide. He's taking Totti with him right there, opening up this space, and now Mazraoui with the beautiful nutmeg. You knew I was going to include this clip, right? Towards Matheus Cunha, who then now can actually go forward and pass the ball to Mbeumo so that he can enter the opposition's final third. And as you can see here, we are able to create these 5v4 or even 5v5 situations that make chance creation much easier for us. So that's one thing. But now, again, let's talk about the big elephant in the room. Now, first of all, this Wolves team are in an abysmal shape, in an abysmal form of late. But also, I think that the rhythm of the game kind of suited Manchester United. Why? Because we know the story. Manchester United are quite good in transitions, but we struggle with breaking down teams that are organized, compact, and sit in a mid or low block. The reason why the rhythm worked in our favor is because we're able to score early and catch Wolves by surprise. Of course, Casemiro's role in that goal is pretty well documented if you watch the highlights. But Mazraoui's role in that game is is understated. So here what we see is Casemiro obviously coming in deeper alongside the other Manchester United players. As you can see, all of these Manchester United players are kind of man-marking the Wolves players. We're trying to stay deep and compact as well. But what's going to happen here is that as the ball progresses, look at Casemiro. So he sees that Mazraoui is on this player right here. He quickly looked over his shoulder to see that Bruno Fernandes is over there. So now he's feeling a little bit more confident, because look at what Mazraoui is doing. By moving deeper, he's effectively, creating a double pivot between him and Bruno. So basically, he's taking over Casemiro's role, which gives actually Casemiro a license to actually move forward. He double checks again just to make sure that he's not leaving a gap behind him. And then now Bruno Fernandes and Matheus Cunha, they kind of get the idea. So they are not going to apply pressure on this player, but rather they're going to move because they expect Casemiro to attempt to win the ball. So now Casemiro can do what Casemiro does, which is tackling players, and now he's able to win the ball. And now Matheus Cunha is well positioned in a way for him to go intercept the ball and then pass it to Bruno. It's not pretty, but it's effective. But again, this just shows sometimes how the decision making of certain players, even players you wouldn't think are actually related or relevant to the goal, like the case with Mazraoui, for example. But sometimes players like Casemiro, they just feel much more confident going forward and going all the way if they know that one or two players got their back. And so in this case, Mazraoui got Casemiro's back, therefore he was able to apply pressure. So I talked about Mazraoui. By the way, I'm preparing a video just on Mazraoui. But Luke Shaw, I'm a huge fan of Luke Shaw this season. I mean, he's been absolutely amazing. I've already made a video on him. I think he was amazing against Brighton. I think we scored 2 goals out of the 4 goals we scored against Brighton because of this move by Luke Shaw. So basically what Ruben Amorim wants his players to do is to force the opposition to play these risky long balls and then rely on the centre-backs to actually just jump into the action, to be quite aggressive and win the ball. And there is no one more aggressive and more decisive in these situations than Luke Shaw. Because here, of course, we were not able to score from it. But the second goal, right after halftime, sorry, again, another key moment for us to score a goal. Luke Shaw is able to win the ball again in this situation, and then it puts us in a situation where we can quickly transition and then catch them off guard, and then we were able to score a goal, the Manchester United way, again, in transitions here between Dalot and Mbeumo. But of course, as the game, developed even further into the second half, it suited Manchester United because Wolves were now chasing, an equalizer at this stage. So the Manchester United players had way more space and way more time on the ball. This has increased Manchester United's confidence, and not more so than Mason Mount, because I think that individually, this was one of his best games. And we, again, needed that sparkle, those moments of genius, of flair from the players. And here Mason Mount, of course, obliged with his goal, which I think is just a great goal. This clearly outlines what you need in order for you to break down those stubborn defenses. Sometimes we talk about tactics, and of course, I have every, incentive in the world to talk about tactics since my channel focuses mainly on that. But sometimes it's not really about tactics. Sometimes it's just about players making the right decision, identifying opportunities and making that right move. And here, of course, with Mason Mount, that's exactly what he does. There is telepathic understanding between him and Bruno Fernandes. Look at Mount's move, because not only is he moving towards that area, but look, a quick just 2 steps to the right to check, to ensure that he's not in an offside position. What a technical and intelligent player Mason Mount is, and that's a great goal. But also in the second half, we were way more comfortable in possession. And again, Mason Mount was one of the driving factors behind that, because I'm not saying he's as good as Iniesta, but I think that there were some sequences where he moved the way Andres Iniesta used to move. Because here, again, we have that build-up with the diamond shape right here with Casemiro, with the likes of Dalot and the likes of Cunha and Bruno, just coming in deep so that they can get involved in that progression phase. But Mason Mount here, again, is doing something interesting in that he's hugging the touchline the way a wing-back or a winger would do. So he's not really playing the way a number 10 in this Ruben Amorim system normally behaves. But there is this space right here that he's opening up. Okay, no Manchester United player occupies this space. It's actually Mason Mount's space. But this is a classic inside forward move. You move in wide, create that space, and then eventually you find the opportunity, to enter this space and exploit it. And that's exactly what Mason Mount is going to do. Just a big high IQ move. He's moving towards the central area. Now here we see there is, again, that structure with 5 defenders and 2 double pivots for Wolves. Very hard, very tough to break down. As you can see, we only have Mbeumo in those forward positions. But then Mason Mount, again, just comes in and gets involved. Now what he does is that he moves in behind this midfield line of Wolves and in front of the defensive line. He's able to receive the ball in between the 2 midfielders, and then again, just like causing the Wolves defensive line to become disorganized, and then being able again to find Matheus Cunha with a beautiful accurate pass. Again, Mason Mount, don't sleep on him, just like Luke Shaw. I think that both of them are big contributors to Manchester United this season. All right, so guys, I also would like to apologize because I think you may have noticed, you may have heard it in my voice, but I'm, sick. So I apologize if my energy levels are not as high as, you're used to. But let's say a couple more things about this performance, because you cannot separate this performance against Wolves from its context. And the context is that we played a subpar team, a team that is in an abysmal form. They're not the most confident team right now. And of course, Wolves has lost quality over the past few seasons. So again, I don't know what to make of this performance. So as far as Manchester United is concerned, as far as I am concerned personally, I'm just taking it one game at a time. I'm not really interested in what's going to happen in the future or speculating on that. I'm just happy. It's a 4-1 win. Deserved win, very good performance from the players, and a vital 3-point that keeps us in the race for those Champions League places. But at the same time, there is no denying that Ruben Amorim is tweaking his system. I know that there are a lot of people talking about this online, especially on X. And most of the people saying that he's not changing things up, don't really know what they're talking about. For someone who watches Manchester United's games and who analyzes them, yeah, I can guarantee you 100%. Ruben Amorim is changing things up. He's trying things, okay? So sometimes he does it more often than others. Sometimes his tweaks don't work. Sometimes they end up backfiring. But he's continuously trying to find ways to optimize his system, because a tactical system is a consistently evolving system. You cannot say, okay, you know what, I'm done. I've got the perfect tactics. It's not like Football Manager. You go on a website and you download the plug and play. I know you guys do it. I know you do it. Nobody wins the Champions League with Walsall, with their own tactics, all right? Yeah, just download the plug-and-play tactic that exploits the meta and then win. Yeah, football is not like that, okay? Every manager needs to continuously innovate, and try to find ways to protect themselves from the opposition and also hurt the opposition. So again, I'm happy to see Ruben Amorim trying to implement those changes and tweak his tactics. As long as he's doing that for this season, irrespective of results, he's going to get my back in, because I just want a proactive manager. Try things. If they don't work, fine, try other things. But you have to try to find solutions. On the other hand, what this performance against Wolves also shows, it's like that old expression, quality isn't everything, it's the only thing. In other words, you could have the best systems in the world, you could have the best tactics, the best ideas. But again, if the players do not have the quality required, and if they do not show that quality week in, week out, then, of course, the results are not going to follow. So the players have also, they have to put in a shift for the club, really. And I still think that this squad is not really ready to compete. So again, transfers are going to be required. In fact, I'm working on a video for a potential target in midfield. I'm not going to tell you who it is, but I can give you a hint. Blood and gold. Okay, those of you who speak French or who know a little bit about French football, oh, there you go, another hint. You'll probably know which team and which player I'm talking about. So anyway, guys, I hope that you've enjoyed this tactical analysis video. If you did, please give it the thumbs up and please share your thoughts in the comment section below. Until next time, cheers.